Imagine a vast, shadowed chamber deep within the mind, where echoes of doubt whisper like wind through cracked stone walls, and a single flame flickers against the encroaching darkness, the flame of unyielding purpose. In this inner sanctum, Napoleon Hill once stood, not as a philosopher in theory, but as a man forged in the fires of relentless ambition, declaring to the universe that failure was not merely improbable, but impossible. What if you could step into that same chamber, ignite your own flame, and act as if every obstacle dissolved before your gaze? This is the essence of definiteness of purpose, the unbreakable vow that transforms mere dreams into inevitable realities. If this journey resonates with the fire within you, hit that like button to fuel the flame, share this with a fellow seeker on the path to mastery, and subscribe to join a community where success consciousness is not just discussed, but lived. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next revelation that could reshape your destiny. The vastness of the human mind stretches like an uncharted wilderness, where dreams either take root or wither beneath the weight of doubt. Napoleon Hill, a man who walked this wilderness with unwavering certainty, understood a singular truth: to act as if failure isn't an option is to awaken a force within that bends the universe to your will. This is not blind optimism, but a deliberate forging of the self, a philosophy etched in the steel of definiteness of purpose. Picture a young Hill, standing alone in a dimly lit room, his journal open, the ink still wet with his vow to interview the titans of industry and distill their secrets into a code for success. He had no wealth, no connections, only a burning vision that refused to flicker. What made him different? Why did his path carve through mountains where others saw only walls? The answer lies in the first principle of self-mastery, the courage to choose your reality. This journey begins in the quiet of your own thoughts, where the seeds of greatness are sown or abandoned. He'll believe the subconscious mind is a fertile garden, absorbing every thought, every whisper of belief or fear, and shaping the world you inhabit. Consider the story of a struggling inventor, Thomas Edison, whose countless failed experiments were not defeats but stepping stones. Each filament that burned out illuminated a truth, guiding him closer to the incandescent light that would change the world. Hill studied such men, not for their victories, but for their refusal to see failure as final. To act as if failure isn't an option is to train the subconscious to seek solutions where others see surrender. It's a mental alchemy, transmuting doubt into determination. But how does one begin? The first step is not action, but clarity. Definiteness of purpose is not a vague wish, it's a precise, vivid image of what you seek, etched into your mind with such intensity that it drowns out the noise of fear. Picture a ship captain in a storm, his eyes fixed on a distant lighthouse. The waves crash, the winds howl, but his course remains true because his destination is non-negotiable. Hill taught that this clarity must be paired with faith, not in some external force, but in the creative imagination that shapes your inner world. Faith is the bridge between vision and reality, the quiet conviction that what you see in your mind will manifest in time. Yet, this is not a passive faith. It demands persistence, a relentless march through the fog of setbacks. Consider Hill's own life, decades spent refining his philosophy, facing skepticism, financial ruin, and personal loss, yet never wavering from his mission to codify the laws of success. He understood that persistence is not mere stubbornness, it's the disciplined application of effort, fueled by a belief so unshakable that obstacles become mere detours. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, echoed this when he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." To act as if failure isn't an option is to see every challenge as a teacher, every rejection as a redirection. But there's a deeper layer, one that he'll call autosuggestion, the art of speaking to your subconscious mind with such conviction that it accepts your vision as truth. Imagine standing before a mirror, your reflection staring back, and declaring with quiet fire, "I am the master of my fate, and my purpose will not be denied." This is not mere affirmation, it's a reprogramming of the self, a deliberate planting of seeds that grow into habits, actions, and ultimately, destiny. Hill's own practice was meticulous. He wrote his goals daily, visualized them with vivid detail, and spoke them aloud, as if summoning them from the ether. This ritual, repeated with unwavering discipline, carved pathways in his mind that led to the creation of Think and Grow Rich, a book that would ignite millions. Yet, this inner transformation is not without its shadows. Doubt creeps in like a thief, whispering of past failures, of risks too great, of dreams too distant. Hill knew this enemy well, and he warned that the subconscious mind does not discriminate, it accepts doubt as readily as faith. The key is to guard your thoughts with vigilance, to choose what you allow to take root. Picture a lone climber scaling a sheer cliff, each handhold a conscious choice, each slip a reminder of the stakes. To falter is human, but to persist is divine. Hill's philosophy demands that you act as if every moment is a chance to redefine your reality, to choose faith over fear, purpose over hesitation. And so, as the sun sets on this first chapter, imagine yourself standing at the edge of that inner wilderness, your purpose a glowing ember in your hands. The path ahead is uncertain, fraught with challenges that will test your resolve. But in this moment, you hold the power to decide: will you let doubt extinguish the flame, or will you carry it forward, lighting the way to a destiny only you can define? The answer lies not in the stars, but in the next step you dare to take. As the ember of purpose glows in your grasp, casting long shadows across the wilderness of the mind, a deeper truth emerges: purpose alone is not enough. It must be forged in the crucible of faith, that invisible force which turns the intangible into the inevitable. Napoleon Hill, drawing from the lives of industrial giants like Andrew Carnegie, saw faith not as a religious doctrine, but as a psychological state, a success consciousness that aligns the subconscious mind with universal intelligence. Imagine Carnegie, a poor immigrant boy, staring at the steel mills of Pittsburgh, not seeing the grime and toil, but envisioning an empire of iron that would reshape nations. His faith was not in luck or fate, but in the creative imagination that painted his future with unerring detail. What if you could harness that same alchemy, transforming fleeting thoughts into unbreakable belief? When the world slumbers and the mind wanders freely, Hill practiced a ritual of immersion. He would close his eyes, breathe deeply, and summon images of his desires as if they were already real: houses built, books written, fortunes amassed. This was the power of creative imagination, the faculty that bridges the gap between the seen and the unseen. Hill taught that the subconscious mind, once impressed with vivid, emotion-charged visions, begins to orchestrate events in harmony with those images. It's like a radio tuning into a frequency of abundance, where ideas flow from the ether, opportunities arise unbidden, and synchronicities unfold like a well-scripted play. But beware, this imagination can just as easily tune to fear, broadcasting signals of scarcity and defeat. Consider the tale of a young entrepreneur, inspired by Hill's principles, who faced bankruptcy's cold grip. Debts mounted like storm clouds, creditors knocked like thunder, yet he refused to yield. Instead, he retreated to his inner chamber, visualizing not ruin, but revival, a business reborn, customers returning, wealth flowing anew. Through autosuggestion, he repeated his affirmations with fervor, feeling the weight of success in his hands, the taste of victory on his tongue. Days turned to weeks, and slowly, the tide shifted, a forgotten contact emerged, a new idea sparked, and what seemed impossible became his reality. Hill would say this is no miracle, but the natural outcome of faith applied, a principle as reliable as gravity, if only we dare to leap. Yet faith demands more than visualization, it requires emotional intensity, that burning desire which Hill deemed the starting point of all achievement. Without it, purpose remains a cold blueprint, unignited and inert. Picture a flame without fuel: it flickers briefly, then dies. Emotion is the fuel, the passion that sustains persistence through the darkest nights. Hill drew from Emerson's transcendental wisdom, who proclaimed that nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. To act as if failure isn't an option means infusing every thought with this fire, letting it consume doubt and propel you forward. Marcus Aurelius, facing the chaos of empire, maintained his Stoic resolve by focusing on inner virtue, but Hill extended this to outer success: align your emotions with your purpose, and the universe conspires in your favor. But shadows linger in this alchemy. The subconscious mind, vast and impartial, can be swayed by negative influences, criticism from others, failures of the past, the subtle erosion of self-doubt. Hill warned of the 6 basic fears: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death, phantoms that haunt the mind and sabotage success. To combat them, one must cultivate a protective shield of positive thought, surrounding oneself with masterminds of like-minded souls. Imagine a council of advisors, not in flesh, but in spirit, Hill consulting the ghosts of Carnegie, Ford, and Edison, drawing strength from their imagined counsel. This mastermind principle amplifies faith, creating a collective vibration that elevates individual effort to extraordinary heights. And vibration, there's the metaphysical thread Hill wove so carefully. He spoke of thoughts as energy, vibrating at frequencies that attract similar energies from the cosmos. Wealth vibration, then, is attuning your mind to the hum of abundance, where ideas of prosperity resonate and draw opportunities like magnets. This is not proven science, but a theory born from observation. Those who think in terms of riches often find them, while those mired in lack remain trapped. Hill's own ascent from poverty to influence exemplified this. His persistent focus on success principles attracted collaborators, publishers, and audiences who propelled his message worldwide. As this chapter fades into twilight, envision your faith as a growing forge, hammers striking sparks from the anvil of your will. The heat intensifies, molding purpose into something unbreakable. Yet, ahead lies the true test. When the world pushes back, when failures mount like barriers, how will you transmute them into triumphs? The alchemy is incomplete without the fire of action, waiting just beyond the horizon. As the forge of faith glows hotter, sparks flying into the night, the true trial begins: persistence, that unyielding sentinel standing between desire and destiny. Napoleon Hill knew that without this guardian, even the brightest purpose dims, the strongest faith falters. It's the quiet resolve that carries you through valleys where others turn back, the inner voice whispering one more step when exhaustion screams for surrender. Picture Hill himself, after years of toil on his philosophy, facing the Great Depression's merciless tide, publishers rejecting manuscripts, fortunes evaporating, yet he pressed on, refining his message until it resonated across generations. Persistence is not a gift, it's a muscle, built through deliberate strain, transforming weakness into unbreakable strength. In the depths of struggle, where doubt's shadows lengthen, Hill uncovered the psychology of endurance. The subconscious mind, once aligned with purpose and faith, craves completion. It abhors the void of unfinished dreams. But external forces conspire against it, temporary defeats that masquerade as final failures, criticisms that erode confidence like acid rain. Hill's antidote was simple yet profound: burn your bridges. Commit so fully to your definiteness of purpose that retreat becomes impossible. Imagine a warrior on the battlefield, ships ablaze behind him, victory or death, no middle ground. This is the mindset Hill advocated, drawn from Carnegie's steel empire, where every setback was analyzed, not as a stop sign, but as a lesson etched in fire. Yet, persistence demands a companion: organized planning. Hill emphasized that raw effort without direction is like a river without banks, powerful but wasteful, flooding aimlessly. In The Law of Success, he outlined the need for definite plans, flexible yet focused, revised in the face of obstacles but never abandoned. Consider Henry Ford, whose vision for the automobile met ridicule and resistance, yet through persistent iteration, model after model, failure after failure, he revolutionized transportation. Hill interviewed him, absorbing the essence: persistence paired with intelligence turns obstacles into opportunities. Marcus Aurelius reinforced the Stoic thread, advising to work with what is at hand, to adapt without complaint, for the universe unfolds as it must. But here's the shocking truth Hill revealed: most people quit just inches from gold. He recounted the story of a miner who sold his claim after years of digging, only for the buyer to strike riches 3 paradox, the mind's temptation to yield when victory whispers from the shadows. To counter it, Hill prescribed daily autosuggestion, reinforcing the subconscious with tales of triumph, visualizing not just the goal, but the path through adversity. Feel the sweat, the strain, the momentary despair, then the breakthrough's exhilaration. This emotional rehearsal builds resilience, turning potential quits into pivotal pushes. Deeper still, persistence intertwines with the mastermind principle, that alliance of minds amplifying individual power. Hill formed such groups, surrounding himself with thinkers who challenged and uplifted, their collective energy a fortress against isolation's despair. Imagine a circle of flames, each feeding the others, growing brighter together. In solitude, persistence wanes; in harmony, it surges. Hill drew from Emerson's idea of self-reliance, but extended it to interdependent strength, borrowing wisdom from those who've walked the path, their experience is a shortcut through your own trials. And yet, the shadows deepen when fatigue sets in, when the subconscious rebels with whispers of inadequacy. Hill acknowledged this human frailty, advising rest not as weakness, but as strategic renewal. Persistence is rhythmic, like the ocean's waves: advance, retreat, advance again, each cycle building momentum. He warned against blind stubbornness, that counterfeit persistence which clings to flawed plans. True persistence adapts, learns, evolves, always anchored to the core purpose. It's the difference between a rigid oak snapping in the storm and a flexible reed bending to survive. As this chapter's embers settle into a steady glow, picture yourself midway up the mountain, muscles aching, summit shrouded in mist. The air thins, the path narrows, yet your steps continue, driven by an inner rhythm unbreakable. But beyond this peak lies not just conquest, but expansion, a realm where inner mastery radiates outward, attracting the wealth and legacy you envision. The question hangs in the fog: will your persistence carry you there, or will the shadows claim another dreamer? As the mountain's mist clears, revealing vistas of untapped potential, the inner mastery you forged begins to radiate outward, drawing the essence of abundance into your orbit. Napoleon Hill termed this the wealth vibration, a subtle, pervasive energy where thoughts of prosperity align with the universal laws, attracting riches not through chance, but through deliberate harmony. No longer confined to personal struggle, this expansion transforms the self into a magnet for opportunity, where definiteness of purpose meets the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. Imagine Hill in his later years, surrounded by the fruits of his philosophy, books sold by the millions, lectures packed with eager minds, fortunes built on the principles he lived. His was not inherited wealth, but a consciousness tuned to the frequency of success, pulling resources from the ether like a symphony conductor summoning notes from silence. This wealth consciousness begins in the subconscious mind, that vast reservoir now brimming with faith and persistence, ready to broadcast signals of abundance. Hill observed that money is not merely paper or metal, but an idea, a form of energy exchanged for value created through creative imagination. To attune to it, one must think in terms of riches, not scarcity, visualize opulence with such vividness that it feels tangible, the weight of coins in your palm, the scent of success in the air. Andrew Carnegie, Hill's mentor, embodied this. Starting with nothing, he built an empire by focusing on steel's potential, not its costs, attracting partners and innovations that multiplied his vision exponentially. Hill's principle here is clear: what you hold in mind, you hold in hand. Yet, this vibration extends beyond personal gain. It taps into the mastermind alliance on a grander scale, where collective minds create a symphony of success. Hill advocated forming groups not just for support, but for amplification, each member's purpose harmonizing with others, generating ideas that no single mind could conceive. Picture a roundtable of visionaries, inventors, entrepreneurs, philosophers, their discussions sparking breakthroughs like lightning in a storm. Emerson's influence echoes here, his belief in the oversoul, a universal mind from which all inspiration flows. Hill adapted this to practical ends: align your group with a shared definiteness of purpose, and the wealth vibration intensifies, drawing opportunities that seem almost predestined. But beware the pitfalls in this expansion. Hill warned that negative vibrations, envy, greed, fear of loss, can repel abundance as surely as positive ones attract it. The subconscious mind, impartial as ever, responds to dominant thoughts, dwell on lack, and it manifests more of the same. To counter this, practice gratitude as autosuggestion, acknowledging current blessings to invite greater ones. Consider the story of a modest clerk, inspired by Hill, who began visualizing promotions and raises, acting as if they were assured. Through persistent effort and faith, doors opened, a chance meeting, a bold idea presented, leading to ascent up the corporate ladder. This is the law of attraction in action, a theory Hill presented not as magic, but as the natural result of aligned consciousness. Deeper into this realm, Hill introduced the concept of sex transmutation, channeling vital energies into creative pursuits, elevating base desires into fuel for achievement. Not repression, but redirection, the passion that drives romance repurposed for innovation, turning emotional fire into intellectual gold. Marcus Aurelius touched on this: Stoic control, mastering impulses to serve higher goals. Hill expanded it to wealth: harness this energy through focused imagination, and it propels you toward legacies that outlast lifetimes. Women and men alike, he noted, have built empires by sublimating personal drives into professional mastery, their vibrations resonating with universal abundance. And yet, true expansion requires ethical alignment, wealth not for hoarding, but for contribution. Hill's philosophy insists that success consciousness includes service, create value that enriches others, and riches return manifold. Carnegie gave away his fortune to libraries and education, embodying this cycle. To act as if failure isn't an option means building not just personal empires, but bridges to collective prosperity, where your vibration uplifts the world. As the horizon broadens, envision your wealth consciousness as a radiating light, illuminating paths once hidden, drawing allies and opportunities into its glow. But this is not the end. Ahead lies the pinnacle, the legacy where inner transformation and outer expansion converge into immortality. What enduring mark will your purpose leave on the tapestry of time? Spreads across the horizon, illuminating empires built and lives transformed. The true summit reveals itself. Legacy, the enduring echo of a life lived with unyielding purpose. Napoleon Hill understood that mastery is not measured in fleeting fortunes, but in the principles passed like torches to future generations, igniting chains of success that span beyond one's lifetime. This is the culmination where inner transformation and outer expansion converge, creating a ripple in the fabric of universal intelligence that outlives the individual. Picture Hill in his final reflections, pen in hand, knowing his words would shape minds long after his departure. Think and Grow Rich, not just a book, but a living philosophy, a blueprint for humanity's ascent. Legacy begins in the quiet act of contribution, where wealth vibration turns inward, gifts outward, serving the greater whole. Hill taught that true success consciousness includes the desire to uplift others, for in giving, one receives infinitely. Andrew Carnegie commissioned Hill's work not for personal gain, but to democratize the secrets of achievement, ensuring his steel-forged wisdom endured through education and philanthropy. This is the mastermind principle elevated to immortality. Align your purpose with service, and your impact becomes timeless. Emerson's transcendental vision resonates here, his call to align with the divine current, but Hill grounded it in action: build libraries of knowledge, mentor the ambitious, create systems that perpetuate prosperity. Yet, crafting a legacy demands the full orchestra of Hill's principles: definiteness of purpose as the score, faith as the melody, persistence as the rhythm, creative imagination as the harmony. Without them, efforts scatter like notes in the wind. Consider the story of a visionary leader, schooled in Hill's laws, who founded a company not for profit alone, but for innovation that solved global woes. Through autosuggestion, he visualized a world improved, attracting talent and resources that turned vision into reality. Setbacks came, markets crashed, competitors rose, but his persistence, fueled by unshakable belief, carried him through. Marcus Aurelius, ruling with Stoic wisdom, left a legacy in his meditations, reminders to live virtuously. Hill echoed this, urging us to act as if our every decision etches our name in eternity. But here's the profound revelation: legacy is not reserved for the elite, it's accessible to all who dare to act as if failure isn't an option. The subconscious mind, once mastered, becomes a conduit for infinite ideas, birthing inventions, art, movements that redefine eras. Hill warned that without this alignment, lives fade into obscurity, dreams unfulfilled, potentials untapped. To counter, cultivate a daily ritual of reflection, review your purpose, affirm your faith, persist in small acts that compound into monumental change. Imagine a chain of successors, each building on your foundation, their successes a testament to your unseen influence. Deeper still, legacy intertwines with the metaphysical, thoughts as eternal vibrations, resonating through time. Hill's theory posits that ideas, once released with emotion and intent, attract like minds across generations, forming an invisible network of progress. This is not confirmed fact, but observed pattern. Hill's principles, drawn from Titans past, inspire modern achievers, their wealth consciousness evolving societies. To embody this, transcend self-interest, envision your legacy as a beacon, guiding lost ships through storms of doubt. And so, as this journey crests its peak, stand atop the mountain of mastery, gazing at the vast legacy unfolding below, a tapestry woven from purpose, faith, persistence, and vibration. The flame you ignited in that inner chamber now burns eternal, passed to hands unseen. But the exploration doesn't end here, it flows into deeper waters, where the secret science of success awaits, revealing how Napoleon Hill himself trained his mind for wealth, a story that begins precisely where this one pauses.